Hey everyone, Irit here with another video continuing my series from July, which was World Watercolor Month, and I'm hoping to continue this daily series and go through either the sketchbook or my palette, whichever comes first. So today's color is Emerald Green by Sennelier, and what I'm trying to do now, before I'll get to talking a bit more about the color, is to kind of help me decide which of my colors is the most complementary to this emerald green. I find it a little bit harder to find accurate complementary colors when it comes to the greens, and I decided to try shell pink, and I'm not sure if they are exact complements, which means that they really neutralize each other, but it was good enough, and the shade that I got mixing them was almost similar to buff titanium, so pretty neutral. I also decided from now on, I'm moving to the greens after this one, and then it'll be the neutrals. I decided I was really going to focus on using my greens in foliage or background or around my florals, because trying to figure out some other way of using them is... Well, first of all, I didn't feel like it. And that's, I guess, the main thing. This is supposed to be fun. And, you know, some days I'm up for a challenge, but then other days I just want to paint something. And many times if it's something familiar and easy, then I'm much more likely to do that, especially when I don't really have a lot of time these days, like a block of time. So I am going to explore these colors in around my florals, which is also probably the way that I will use them the most in the future. So it does make sense for me to do that. I did find some beautiful green flowers, and a lot of them are green and white or green and pink. So there are green flowers, and you are, of course, welcome to explore that yourself if you're interested in using greens like this. But for me, for the moment, I'm really enjoying actually using them in my background, and I'm trying then to keep the other colors kind of minimal or a very narrow color story or color scheme, and kind of focusing on mixing the greens with other colors to just tweak them a bit. Okay, so this color, this is a color by Sennelier, as I've said, and I think it is beautiful, and I really haven't seen any other brand make this color. Now, I do want to say that probably a pan is a safer bet, because I did hear from a few people that bought the tube that it was a little bit kind of splitting, or there was too much binder. I'm not surprised, because I can imagine that this could be a little bit a tricky color to formulate. Although I really don't know the details about the pigment or anything here. All I know is that it's this beautiful, beautiful, creamy, minty color that looks very opaque in the pan, but it's actually surprisingly transparent. And I think the closest, I won't be purchasing it again. I have a tube, and once I run out of it, that'll be gone, just because Sennelier paints contain honey, and I'm trying to avoid any animal products in my art supplies. So I think I will switch, once I'm done with it, I'll probably switch that spot to Fuchsite from Daniel Smith, which I recently purchased a large tube. However, this color is beautifully matte, which I prefer, and the Daniel Smith one is shimmery. Now, you can also mix something very, very similar. I have done that in the past, and I'll probably do that also in the future. There are a couple of reasons for that. So the way that you mix something very similar is to take cobalt teal and add some white to it, and then add a little bit of a yellow. I usually use something like Naples yellow to just get that slightly greener tint to it than the teal. And I have mixed it because I do try to keep a more limited color palette, and in most of my paintings I use Naples yellow and cobalt teal and white. So for me it makes sense to mix this color if I already have those in my palette or in my painting. But if you like this shade as much as I do, then I think it's a color worth having. And I have to swatch it next to the fuchsite. I'm not sure if they are, identical, but it kind of ticks the same box in my palette. So I think it's an okay substitute. But if you have no problem with honey in your watercolors, then I highly recommend this color because it is beautiful. I've had it for years and I love it. I originally bought the pan, and then when I saw how much I love it, I bought the tube. And I've been using it a lot. It's really lovely. So you can see also something that I'm trying to do, you'll see that in the following pages as well, is that I'm trying to keep the color at the top slightly warmer, more yellow. I think it makes sense because even though my florals are very abstract and not realistic at all, I do feel that some, rules of nature help a painting look good. And in my mind, when you're looking at like a field of flowers, for example, you'll have more light on the top of the flowers than on the bottom. So even though I'm not painting skies or anything, I do try to vary the color, and it makes sense for me to make the top part lighter and warmer with more yellow than the bottom part, and then to add most of the shadows underneath my flower shapes, even if I'm not going for a realistic look. So now I'm just adding some dark color, some detail, and I think I chose, what did I pick here? Probably dusk pink because that's my go-to color. I think right now my favorite darks are dusk pink, lunar black, and zoisite, which zoisite is one of my July faves. And if you haven't seen that video, I posted it 2 days ago, so go ahead and check that out. I think those videos are really helpful because I can share with you what I actually use, for weeks or months, as opposed to a new product review or something like that. So, you can see even there are products that I think are great, but still somehow don't make it into my regular routine use. And those monthly favorites, I think, are a really great way to highlight the products that I really love and enjoy. So check that video out. Okay, now I let everything dry and I want to go back because before the background was still wet. So all of my brushwork with my sword brush here kind of, blended. But now that the background is dry, I can go in and add more fine lines, and then I can decide if I want to blend them out a little bit or leave them like that. And this is pretty much it. I don't know what I did with the other 3 minutes that this video has. Maybe I just added some more detail, but I really, really like this color scheme. I think this minty color together with shell pink and Naples yellow, it's such a dainty, kind of romantic, more shabby chic color palette that for me personally, I think it has a lot of charm. And even though many times I am quite, I don't know, I'm like a raven that is mesmerized. Instead of glittery things, I really am drawn to bright colors. But I've learned through painting a lot that these softer colors have a real special place in my, you know, watercolor aesthetical or aesthetics. And yeah, the more I use them, the more I love them. And this color is, you know, it's quite, I don't really think I've seen a lot of people use it. And I think they're missing out because it's really beautiful. It's kind of, I would say, kind of a niche color, but yeah, still beautiful. Oh, okay. So here is where I can give some credit to Léonard for really inspiring me to use some of my metallic shades, and you'll see those a lot in the next pages. I mean, I kind of have a love-hate relationship with metallics or shimmery watercolors, but I think my most favorite way of using them is with splatters. That is my absolute favorite, and pretty much, like, I think here I'm also adding some brush strokes, and that's fine, but the splatters are just my most favorite thing. So if you're wondering which color I'm using, the one on the right now that I'm using is by Rachel Beth. She does handmade watercolors. I've had this color for years. It's called Copper Candle, I think, and it's just beautiful. It's so beautiful, and a really intense coppery shade. And then the other one is a super glittery gold that I have no idea where I have it, so sorry about that. But here's some close-ups. You can see also the metallic colors. I think they're fun, and they definitely add dimension. And yeah, if you pick some good ones that are really well formulated and heavy on the glitter, I think for sparkles they are just fantastic. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow in another video. Bye.